My name is Vincent Laforet. I'm an editorial and commercial photographer based out of New York City. I'm also a Canon Explorer of Light and a print master. The camera's durability for me is one of the most important factors. I've depended on Canon cameras to take me to some of the most difficult places in the world. Very cold environments, very dusty environments, very wet environments. And the reality is, if anything does break down, I don't have the luxury of getting it fixed on the spot or getting a replacement camera. The camera has to survive through my journey with me. And that's why I really rely on these bodies to take me through my assignments. The fact that this camera has been tested to 300,000 cycles is a great feature for me. I'm constantly shooting very high volume subjects, whether it's an aerial or sporting event, and I really rely on this EOS-1D Mark III to not fail at any point, especially when I'm doing these very big profile events. I'm constantly pushing the technical limit of what a camera can do. I'm pushing the slowest shutter speed possible, the widest opening, and the highest ASA possible so that I can make images in areas where it's often difficult to see with the human eye. This camera allows me to do that, and you're amazed at the quality of image that you get back from the 1D Mark III. One example is photographing from a helicopter after sunset. It's one of the most difficult things to do. The helicopter is vibrating very heavily, so you have to have as fast a shutter speed as you can, and you're wide open, usually at 1.4, but even there you're at 30th or 40th of a second at 1600 ASA. And you're constantly pushing that technical limit to try and be able to capture a frame that's not only sharp in very low light, but also that's not too noisy. My clients are amazed by the quality of the imagery. Most of them don't know it's digital, and it never becomes an issue. You can't see any digital artifacting of any kind. The image is incredibly clean, incredibly sharp, and incredibly colorful, often far exceeding what you can produce with film. People actually focus on the imagery and say, wow, that's a great image, or that's a great moment, and that's what's important to me. And the quality that I got from the aerial beach scene in Fort Lauderdale was fantastic. It was a very difficult shooting situation. There's a high vibration in the helicopter, we're moving pretty fast. It was a very, very windy day, so I didn't have much time either. And what I did get was pretty fantastic. You can actually see a tremendous amount of detail in this imagery, and it gets the reader really involved in the image, and I really, really like that. I mean, at the end of the day, no one cares about how many frames per second your camera shoots at, how big the buffer is. All they care about is whether or not you got the image. And for me, what's most important is that I use a system that allows me to capture the moment time after time after time. A camera that allows me to make better pictures, allows me to push the envelope, but more importantly, a camera doesn't fail me. The 1D series and the Mark III continuously bring back some of the most fantastic images and allow me to push that envelope further and further. And that's why I use the system. It allows me to bring back images that are memorable. And what I really like about the Canon system is they have the right lenses, the right strobes, the right functions, and the camera performs every single time, with very few exceptions. I now try to make the image that I know is very difficult to make, has a very, very small room for error, but I can depend on that camera, on the Mark III or the Mark IINs or the 1DSs, whatever they are, to help me make that image that I thought was impossible to make. And these cameras, time and time again, have not only pulled it through, but exceeded my expectations in terms of their performance on many levels. This WFT E2A is actually a quantum leap in terms of the evolution from the previous version. This is a very compact unit that easily fits on the side of a camera. You don't even know it's there. It's not in the way of your hands, the functionality of the camera. And in fact, you can just leave it on full time. It doesn't really bother you at all. And it's so much more powerful than the previous version. It gives you so many different abilities, different ways to get the images to your computer, different protocols. It's faster, and the software is so much better. It's very, very easy to use. Right from the camera. You can do everything from the camera. And I found this incredibly useful. It's going to change the way I do a lot of things. And this transmitter also is powered by the camera, so you don't have to worry about batteries, and it has a range of 150 feet, which is more than sufficient for almost any application that you might come up with. For remote cameras, for example, if you want to use it in conjunction with live view. One of the fantastic features of the Mark III is the ability to use live view. And what this means is if you're shooting something like macro photography and you really want to have extremely precise focus, you can go ahead and use the camera to its full potential. Just go ahead and open up the live view and you're seeing a live image that's being captured through the lens. And what you can do, of course, is you can compose differently. You can see as I move the camera. Obviously you can focus. You can see the effect immediately. And then, even better, is the ability to zoom in to 10 times power. and you can actually move the area that it's sampling anywhere on the chip. So you can see an incredible level of detail and focus, just at insane level of detail that I don't think is possible with the human eye. One of the best benefits of Canon is they listen to photographers. You know, all these features that we've been asking for are in the Mark III. Whether it was better sealing around the strobe, more custom functions to actually change within camera without having to attach it to a computer, better autofocus, faster frames per second and burst rates. You know, when you give them your feedback, they tend to come back very quickly with the answer. And that's one of the great reasons that I like to work with Canon, because I can depend on them to not only listen, but actually produce the camera of our dreams.